I'm exploring, I'm doing a lot of research at the moment, like working on coming to, an understanding of narcissism and why I've been pulled into a pattern of being attracted to people who display narcissistic traits. Because I'm not fully resolved on it yet, like I found that, I'm going to put this in bunny ears, but, I'm still falling for that, the technique which is called love bombing. So, and I've just watched a really awesome video from Grannon, who knows his stuff about narcissism, and I'll add a link for that video at the in the description below. And also, I'm just going to say, like, I ain't no specialist on narcissism. I am not a psychologist. I haven't studied psychology. I've just worked on psychology. I've experienced a lot of psychology through the teaching job that I did working with children with mental health, through my own mental health issues, and also from my journey with the Ascended Masters with the dispensation through Kim Michaels, because it focuses on resolving your psychology. Okay, so that's my approach. I am not a professional. I am not somebody who has studied it, because also I think people who there's a lot of people who've studied it, but they haven't become a psychologist or a psychiatrist who have, incredible knowledge and, they've studied it. So I'm not one of those, so I'm going to share with you, I'm just going to share with you, like what's sort of come from me, the little awakening since watching this particular video from Richard Grannon. And so he's talking a bit about how the love bombing theory is kind of like inadequate of itself. And as he was talking about it, like I realized, like, it's correct, because, I was sort of looking at it and thinking, well, love bombing, it was just me and my ego, like, I was just really needy for love, and I fell for it. I was tricked, because my ego wanted to be stroked. And he explains it's not as simplistic as that, he said, because in a normal relationship, there's this give and take, or not even give and take, like, there's a reciprocity going on, there's a connectivity and everything. Whereas in a narcissistic relationship, what's happening is, there's one person, and in this case myself, who is open and honest and, has a conscience, and essentially, good-natured person who just, only wants to help, doesn't want to harm anyone, okay? And that's, we can say that about, I believe, about the majority of people on this planet, okay? I don't see human nature as being evil. I think the narcissists and the people who fall into this category, it's a very, very small number, okay? So, let's just be aware of that. So, and I know my heart, I've come from a good place. I'm not looking to manipulate people. I might have, unintentionally pushed people, and I've played out, unresolved psychology and so on. But there's never been any harm intended. I've only ever desired to help. And so there we go. I'll say no more about that. So the terminology he brings in is love leveraging. So what the narcissistic personality disorder person does is they try to find what you love, what is that goodness in you? What do you love? And they target that, it's a dualistic desire, and they target that. And so if you look at it that way, it becomes a lot more complex what goes on when you begin to understand that, you've been manipulated into this. Whereas instead of just this straight up guilt, like, I felt guilty and ashamed, that, I fell for, oh, I've got this really, I obviously have a huge ego and I fell for it because I wanted my ego stroked. So it's all my fault, and it wasn't. I was tricked. And we were, anyone who's fallen into this narcissistic attraction to a friend, to a lover, whatever it is, it's because we were manipulated. So I've just looked at a couple of romantic relationships. There were more experiences, but this just feels like the easiest ones for me to explain. So I just want to sort of show what I've seen in, how I was manipulated, and I just want to share it. No judgment against the person who, played that role of manipulating me. I just want to expose it and show it. So what I can see and what I've learnt from it. So the very first sexual relationship that I went in, I with a narcissistic person was I really wanted a lot of sex, because the relationship before, it had all fizzled out, and sex became sort of a bit of a game, and I just wanted it. I just wanted to explore and have a lot of sex, a lot of sexual experiences. So the first step of the person in that relationship was that she actually just played around with defining this identity, like defining the nature of the relationship. So one minute, she was saying, oh no, but you're just my friend, we can't do that. But then, oh my God, I'm falling for you. Like, but how can my friend be my lover? And, it just messed with my mind. But, I'm kind of like, yeah, let's bring on the sex. That's all I want. And, it all happened. So then we got into it, and then it became a little bit more intricate, the manipulation. So she knew that I'm an open-minded and I'm a very accepting person. That really matters, like just to be open and accepting of other people. And so what she did then was she would constantly redefine the dynamics of the relationship. So we'd go from like it started off as dating without commitment, which means, she could have sex with other people. I mean, I didn't need to, because, I was just saying, oh, it's okay. I just want fidelity. So the whole time I'm kind of waiting for this fidelity. And then, she called it, dating with monogamy, or dating with commitment and monogamy, and which was great. And then she starts playing with me again. So she, drew me in from this desire for sex, and pulled me in there. And then she said, I want an open relationship. And I'm like, oh, okay, I don't really want that. But also I didn't know how to put up a boundary and, realize, well, that's the end of that. I still wanted that relationship. I still wanted that sex. I still wanted that attachment. So yeah, she did that. And then, I began sort of, at some point she just did what she wanted with it. She actually used it as a tool to sort of humiliate me and make me jealous. And, there's nothing wrong with jealousy. I think it's a very real emotion. Like it's because, you're being tormented, pretty much. So I felt confused by all of this, but I felt compelled to accept it. And eventually, because I'm open-minded, I just went, it was her game. And eventually I went, well, why don't I try open relationships? So I did. And I really quickly realized, it was upsetting her. It was upsetting the person that I was with, because, I don't toy with people. So, I was emotionally and, giving to both of these different women, so I have this triad of people, and I couldn't bear it. I couldn't bear hurting two people. So I knew I had to make a choice, and I did. And then she said, okay, let's be monogamous. And the funny thing was, the relationship only lasted another 6 months, because, I just realized, it was really obvious to me it was over. So also in this relationship, like, she learnt that I love to give, you know, I love to give of myself in so many ways. And she manipulated that by conning me into giving away a lot of money because, you know, I had more money than what I knew what to do with, and I wasn't earning a lot, but, you know, I'm just, you know, not, yeah, I'm not very good with money. Well, I wasn't very good with money back then. And yeah, manipulated me into paying off her debts and giving her lots of money, and, you know, and then again, it was always put back on me. Like, so, you know, to make me feel guilty, she'd say, well, you know, you chose this, you know, you said you will pay off my debts for me, you know, and it wasn't me. I didn't force you. And I was like, yeah, okay, yeah, sure. You know, so again, I just felt like, you know, it was my fault. I made that mistake. Stupid me. So then, you know, they came along, and then this has happened across 2 relationships, is that, you know, I love to help people. I really, really love to help people. And in both these relationships, that was taken advantage of. You know, in the first one, it was it was through, and this happened in my workplace also, that, you know, it was just taken advantage of. Like, you know, you have to help me, like, you know, like, in one way or another. I was manipulated into, you know, endlessly long discussions, you know, where you know, this one woman was wanting me to solve all her problems, and the other relationship, you know, yeah, it was the same thing. I had to solve all of their problems, and with one of them, you know, these endless long arguments would only end when I capitulated and just, you know, just validated in whatever way she was looking for. And in the other one, I inevitably failed with solving all the problems. You know, it was all of these external problems. And so I'd make the decision on, well, why don't you do this? And you know, she'd do it, and she'd suffer as a result of it. And because, you know, sometimes, yeah, you know, the outcome is not really what you're wanting. And so then she'd blame me. So, you know, there was no win with all of this. So I just, yeah, I just wanted to sort of, yeah, that's sort of like a little bit of a condensed reflection on how, at this point in my awareness, you know, how I got drawn into the manipulation with narcissistic people. And at this point, you know, I see my lesson is, in each case, you know, I had a misplaced sense of self. And, but what I had to learn is how to systematically build boundaries. So it, you know, partly you can build the boundaries, you know, out so that that other person knows where your boundaries are, but then also within yourself, like, you know, well, this is how far I go and I extend, you know, like, and realizing, you know, like, yeah, the limits of what I'm prepared to do. So, you know, I still feel like I'm, you know, I'm still a very giving person. I still love helping people and everything, but also recognizing, like, best not to get involved in that direct sort of, yeah, just being very careful about how I go about helping people. And just learning to sort of, yeah, to give in sort of more of a general way. And it's like, if people want to come and receive that help, then great. If not, you know, I'll leave them be. So I'm finding doing YouTube videos and just writing things, it's the best way, because it's kind of like a take it or leave it sort of thing. You know, writing books and so on. That's sort of all my ideas so far. I'm not so much wanting to get caught up in the personal helping people at this point. Doesn't mean I won't, but I think that's just a boundary I'm just sort of coming to, you know, right here, right now. To really break that pattern of trying to personally help anyone. So at this point in time, that boundary's up. And it's for me. It's for me. And if someone else is looking to draw that out of me, then, you know, I'm the one who has to set the boundary and see, like, yeah, no, I can't help, you know, I can see I cannot help you here. Like, so and just let it go, you know, like I don't have to give them an option or tell them where to find help or anything like that. Like, you know, I just need to see that I can't do it. So let's see how that goes. Experiment time. Okay, so there's my thoughts and experiences with the whole love bombing, love leveraging thing with narcissists. So yeah, maybe of help. See ya.